Hey everybody, my next guest is a very funny comedian and TikToker who could be seen performing all over the tri-state area. Here he is, folks, the one and only Silvio D'Onofrio.
How
Silvio,
you
what's
doing,
up?
man? Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Thanks for having me on, dude. I really, I appreciate it. Seriously.
Yeah, man, dude, I appreciate you coming on. I've been watching your videos for the last I'd say about a good solid year. I've been seeing your stuff popping up.
Okay.
A lot of funny stuff. Um, you know, so take me through it. So you're like I think you're an around the way guy. Like you're close to my neighborhood.
Right now, I live in Long Island. So if you're a
Yeah,
Long Island guy, we're kind of we're around the way. So
yeah, dude. I think you're Lake Grove, right?
yeah, right now I live in Lake Grove. So I was born in Queens. Lived out there for a decent amount of time, nothing crazy, and then I moved out. Actually moved out to like Wading River. Did like middle school, junior high, everything, high school out. I actually ended up going to Longwood, and then
Oh, nice. Yeah.
went to college in the city. And then my wife was like, "Yeah, we're coming to Long Island. I'm never living in the city." And now I'm in Lake Grove. So,
There you go, dude. I'm out here in Manorville.
oh yeah, you're right by where I used to be.
Yeah, yeah, not too far at all. Cause yeah, you were like Yap Hank and what was it like Middle Island and all that stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah.
there
So the
long.
school was in Middle Island, but I grew up right off Wading River Manor Road.
Oh, sweet, man. Yeah,
Yeah, down
dude.
towards the King Cullen over there. So like literally right by it.
Right, my hood, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
good times, bro.
exactly.
Yeah, dude.
Hey, neighbor.
Neighbors. I don't like them already.
Hey, listen, I'm having a barbecue. Pull up.
Yeah, sure, I'll come over. No problem.
Then I threw the whole spumoni in his face.
I like the music you guys got going here, huh?
I got some vino, I got some superside, no gabagool.
Come here. You want some sausage? You want some food? You eat? You hungry?
Hey, the real question is it sweet or spicy?
What do they look like, a bunch of Mama Lukes? We got both.
You've been breaking a lot of ground with your career with the TikTok stuff and the
Yeah.
Instagram hits and all that kind of stuff. What do you think's the future for TikTok right now? I mean, it's hot in the news right now.
I'm truthfully for me, I don't really care. I mean, I use it because like I have to, but like for me, my biggest thing is Instagram. That's like by far my biggest. Like recently, I just started like posting stuff on Facebook because a lot of people are like, dude, you got to post on Facebook. Like you can get paid, and like people always be like, oh, you make money from that. I'm like, I make nothing. Like people think like, oh, you got a good amount of followers. Like how much money are you making? I'm like, yeah, I'm not making anything. Truthfully, like I started doing it originally. Like I always wanted to do stand up, and a buddy of mine at the barbershop that I used to go to, doing like a lot of videos and like made it like, he had tons of followers, started doing stand up. And, truthfully, one time at the barbershop, I felt like he like big timed me. Like, we were joking around and he like kind of tried to big time me. And I was just like, oh, this motherfucker's going to learn. Like, if he thinks he's funnier than me, like, no way. And
Yeah, he tried to big time, like talking about numbers. Like I got
no, it
800,000.
wasn't even that. Like, one time I had said like, oh, you should do this. I think this would be like a really funny idea. And my barber was always like, I don't know how you're funny, like talking to him. And like every time I was in the chair, like they would be dying. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not trying to be funny. It's just, I'm just bullshitting. And I tell them this idea and he's like, nah, that'll never work, dude. You don't know Instagram. I'm like, okay, like whatever. Like, you're right. Like, I'm not going to question somebody who's like, doing good. Now, like 2-3 weeks later, see this guy post identically what I tell him, which I don't care.
Right. Yeah.
And I just like commented something like, this is funny, man. And like, he always like responds back to people, and he doesn't respond back to me. He just DMs me and was like, it's not about the idea, it's the execution. And I got so fucking mad.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah. I called my brother up and I was like, you know what this motherfucker said to me? He's like, oh, fuck that guy. I'm like, this was literally, well, not last year because we're in 25 now, but this was 2023 and like Thanksgiving. And I told my wife, I'm like, the second the new year hits, I'm like, I'm posting videos. I'm like, I'm going to get in a year 50,000 followers. It didn't happen. I got like 21, but I'm like, I'm going to get 50,000 followers. I was like, I'm going to blow up. I'm doing stand up. I'm like, give me 2 years. And my wife was like, you know how the women are, man. They're not believers. And yeah, it's like, nah, it's never going to happen. You're living in a dream. And, you know, my wife's like, you should aim for maybe 5,000. That's a big number. And I was like, all right. Like, if anyone knows me, I'm like, the biggest motivation for me is just to prove my wife wrong. So I'm like, I was like, you're going to learn. You're going to learn too, bitch. And like, it just was like, it started going good. And I was like, look, I want to try to do stand up. Like, I think and everyone's like, oh, I think I'm funny. And I did like my first show. It was like a bringer show. And it went really good. And they asked if I wanted to come and like do another show for them, like as like a free guest spot. And I was like, sure. And it was going good. And then around March, I kind of like took a little break because me and my wife opened a business. And I mean, it was kind of a dull. And my wife was, you know, oh, see, this is why. Is it even worth doing it? Like, I feel like you're not posting. Stuff's not funny. And I posted like a video with these two black guys that I know. And the way the video was is like, you know, they meet me in the park and one of the guys is like, hey, my buddy's coming. He's Italian. Don't do that stuff. And they're like, what are you talking about? And I'm wearing a tracksuit and I'm like, oh, and they're all sitting in like basketball clothes. And the second I say that, you know, pans to them and two of them were wearing like tracksuits.
Yo, my friend, he's Italian. He's coming by. Don't do that stuff you guys do, bro.
What we be doing?
Exactly.
Hey, I like your fits.
Hey!
I like it. You got a good style.
Hey, come on,
I like it.
Yeah.
All right.
You're just gonna sit
Fucking
there.
guy.
You're just gonna sit there. Yes.
Guess I'm a real paisan today, huh?
I think we posted it and they were like, I don't think this is going to hit. I'm like, nah, trust me. I think it will. And we posted it like 6 at night. And by like 7:30, it was at like 150,000 views. And I'm like, dude, this is moving. And then within like 2-3 days, it was, I think at like 500,000 or 600,000. And I'm like, dude, this is nuts. Like, we got to keep going. And then we just like kind of kept on the same theme of like, you know, similar like racy stereotype stuff. And it was going good. And a lot of people didn't want to do it with me. They're like, you know, that's how you get canceled. And I'm like, we're not doing anything like racial. It's just like, it's just funny stereotypes like that everyone thinks is funny.
Right. Yeah.
And it went really good. But like bigger like people, I guess like Italian people and other people like started reaching out to me. And I'm like, dude, this is like working out. And Mike Marino, the comedian, reached out to me and was like, hey man, I love this video. I would love to like have you come to my house. Maybe we could do a podcast. And I was like, yeah, why wouldn't I? And then Mike actually took me on like his like All in the Family tour. It was like me, this guy Pork Chop. He's another governor's guy.
Oh yeah, I know Pork Chop.
The number one Guido, who's like he's a guy from up in like Westchester, another really good dude. And I don't know if you ever heard of like Giuseppe Garage. He's like a little kid, fixes cars. Like kid's like he probably's got more money than I got. Like, and he's 14 years old. And, he was like the MC, and it just went really good. And you know, Pork actually brought me around like governors and stuff because like I had never been to governors. I was always like schlepping to the city, you know, 2-3 nights a week just to get staged. Right. And that's where I met Fat Jay. And Fat Jay was like, I tell you, I met him like at night one night at the brokerage, and I'm like, he's like, oh, I think I've seen one of your skits. And I'm like, oh, thanks, man. And I'm like, you want to do one? And he's like, yeah, I could do one. I'm like, could you be in like the Bronx at 7 a.m? And he's like, yeah, I'll be there. And in my head, I'm like, this guy not showing up on time. He came, like, I called him. I'm like, hey, I'm on my way. Are you there? He's like, I'm here. And I was like, it's like 6:45.
Damn,
so
man.
I got there, man. He was there, like ready. I had bocce balls in my car. And I tell him this whole bocce skit. And we were all kind of like, they were kind of like, I don't know if it's going to hit. And I just had like a good feeling. And so we post it. And that was it. Like, that's not why me and Jay became best friends, but it was like, posted it. It blew up. I think in like 3 days it hit 1 million views, and I was like, holy shit.
Yo, what up? Man, what y'all playing?
It's bocce. It's like an Italian game.
Bocce. You mind if we play? Stop this from Brett. On it.
$100? Yeah, we in. Definitely. Let's go.
Andiamo, man.
Got nothing.
Oh! Ah! Hold on, hold on. Oh!
This fucking bullshit. Bro, I swear they're good at everything.
That's my biggest video, as of right now. And then me and Jay just talk to him every day. We like shoot ideas back and forth. And yeah, man, it's just, I do the skits really just to, build a name. I mean, you know how it is in like the comedy game.
You're doing you're doing a great job with those sketches. And again, shout out to Fat Jay. Great dude. Another local cat out here on the island, another governor's guy. But like when you get the idea, so let's just say the barber pisses you off, kind of puts a fire under you. You're like, what? I'm gonna show him, and then you start, doing the viral stuff. And like, how did you have the confidence to know that that one sketch with the tracksuits would be the one? And what did, like, walk me through that time when you see it actually going viral? Like, is that the first thing you've ever had that went viral like that?
No. So, honestly, at first I used to want to do videos with my wife, like, cause I'm like, this is so common. Like, every husband, like, secretly hates their wife. So like, let me just do those. And, at the time, like, I wasn't really doing a lot. I think I've maybe posted 1 or 2 reels. I got like 200-300 views, and I was doing, like, my wife didn't want to be in them. She's like, I'm not doing this. So I'm like, I guess I got to buy a wig and throw a fucking wig on. And I would do those. I did like 2 or 3 of them, and I'm like, I ain't wearing this wig no more. Like, I'm not fucking doing it.
What do you think you're gonna wear tonight, huh? I'm just gonna wear a black V-neck and a pair of jeans. That's it.
Tell me which one you like better, the white outfit or the blue one, all right?
I like the blue one a lot. The white one's not bad, but I definitely like the blue.
The blue one? I look like fucking Shamu in that. What do you want me to look bad, you asshole?
Why do you ask me if you know the answer already then?
They did all right. They got like 4,000 or 5,000, and then they had that. I don't know if there was a thing that was popular last year. It was like, you're like, oh, I'm a podcaster. I video people talking. Like,
right.
Yeah.
They walk and they talk. Yeah. And
So this lady I work with, she's like an older lady. And we always say she's like we joke around. I work with her. I'm like, hey, you're like my godmother. You're like my dad's age. And she's like big on TikTok. And she's like, you should do this. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll do one like I'm Italian. So I just did this like I'm Italian, and I happened to have like a bunch of Sergios, and I was like wearing them, and I'm like, oh, I'm Italian. When my wife says let's get dressed up, I just put on a tracksuit. Like stupid, like stereotype. Like one of them, I'm standing in my kitchen with a knife, and I'm like, I'm Italian. Even if I commit murder, if I say 10 Hail Marys, I'll be all right. And stupid stuff like that.
I'm Italian. When my wife says to get dressed nice, I just put on a tracksuit. I'm Italian. Of course all my kids' names end in a vowel.
I'm Italian. Of course I drive a Cadillac.
I'm Italian. A wooden spoon isn't just for cooking. It's for disciplining your kids. I'm Italian. If you ever need anything, let me know. I know a guy. I'm Italian. Even if I murder somebody, as long as I say 10 Hail Marys, I'll still go to heaven.
I'm Italian. My father's in the sanitation business. I'm Italian. Of course no woman will ever be better than my mother.
And I put it together. I'm like, I don't think it's going to do anything. And that was like my first big video. It got like in a day and a half, it was at like 100,000 views. And I'm like, oh shit, I made it. I'm thinking like my whole life's going to change. I'm like, yeah, nah, I'm just an asshole. So, but the video was like, I realized like there were so many people who liked it. But if there was, let's say there was 100,000 comments and 50,000 or 60,000 were like, this is great. It's like 40% of them were like, this guy's a fucking huge, like people calling me like, a lot of people like, you're not Italian, you're Puerto Rican. And I'm just like, yeah, all right. Like, and I just said to my wife, I'm like, listen, this like, I'm Italian. I'm not like, I don't walk around like, oh, hey, yo, wow. Like,
right, yeah.
Like, listen, on Instagram, I do that, but it's funny. People who know me, they're like, dude, you're so animated, this and that. People who know me from Instagram, they just think I'm like, walk around with like garlic in my back pocket. And then people who see me perform are like, I've had people from Instagram who come see a show and they're like, how come you don't talk about being Italian? I'm like, yeah, that's like not my thing. It's like I do it on Instagram, but I just talk about my kids and like funny stories that have happened to me. So it's, but I realized the hate, and I was like, look, I told my wife, I'm like, yeah, the husband wife stuff is pretty funny, but I'm like, the Italian thing hit so much, and I was like, I tried to come up with another idea, and I was like, you know what? Let me wear a tracksuit. I'm like, let me think of something catchy, and I did like a tracksuit Tuesday, and basically what I would do is like my base. Listen, I like love like mob stuff. Like anyone who knows me, like my leg is fully tattooed with mobsters on it. They're like, you're a loser. I'm like, okay, it is what it is. But like basement, I got like a man cave with like mob mug shots, and I just set up my couch in front of like the mug shots and just started saying like stupid Italian, like American slang, not real Italian. Like, oh, this guy's a fucking jamope. And then I would use it in a sentence, be like, ooh, that fucking jamope over there. And then I would just like write jamope and what it meant.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Those videos, like the first one I did got like 250,000 views. And I'm like, oh, fuck it. I'm running with this.
All right, here are some things Italians say. Part one. The first word we have, braciole. Hey, you see that girl over there? I'd like to give her some of the old braciole, huh?
And there was actually a store who really liked the stuff and was like, where are you getting your tracksuits? I'm like, the website. And he was like, come to my place. I sell them. And I went, he gave me like so much stuff for free. He's like,
wow, dude.
So I had like I think I did like 20 tracksuit Tuesdays. I never wore the same tracksuit. It was like always a new one, just going. And it got to the point where like Sergio Tacchini, like the actual brand, someone reached out to me and was like, hey, we love your stuff, and we'd love for you to be like a brand ambassador. And I'm like, shit, I might get paid. So
yeah, dude.
I was like, yeah, they sent me a couple of suits, and they loved the first two videos I did. And then I did one, it was like a green tracksuit, and I actually used the word jamope. And it was like around St. Patty's Day. They're like, post this before St. Patty's Day. And I was like, yeah, you know, all my friends called me on Sunday to go to the St. Patty's Day parade. I'm like, what am I, a fucking jamope? I'm Italian. I'm not going. And they just like sent me an email like, hey, unfortunately, the brand doesn't support that. And I'm like, oh, keep me
oh, man.
I'm like, you've seen these videos. Like, I call people like cunt. And I'm like, this is what you're going to get mad at? So that was that. And truthfully, I just started running out of words, to be completely honest. So I kind of like went off that. But I was like, listen, I could already tell the way this is going. And I had met the guy, Reg, who I did the tracksuit video with at a comedy club in Harlem. We did a show together, and he had come up to me. He was like, yeah, your stuff's funny. And I was like, dude, you're funny, man. And then I followed him on Instagram. And then one day he just DM'd me and was like, I see you're doing a lot of stuff. Like, I'm a film major. Would you ever want to do stuff together? And I was like, and I'm horrible at editing. I used to send it to somebody. And I'm like, yeah. So he came. We had like 5 or 6 ideas. We went up there. I met him up in the Bronx, and we did all the skits, did like 5 skits in like 30 minutes. And I'm like, dude, anytime I've tried to do something with somebody, it's like a fucking 5-hour thing to do one thing. So I was like, yo, these guys are great. And then we started, you know, we did those 5, then we'd meet up the next week. And then, you know, the tracksuit one went like real viral. We did a couple others that they did, you know, 200,000-300,000 now, like at the views, but at the time the tracksuit went the quickest.
Right. So yeah.
Next week I was like, listen, you guys mind coming to Long Island? I'm like, I got a good one. The guy across the street from me don't live there. I'm like, pull in his driveway, pop out and just say, hey, what's up, neighbor? I'll be watering my driveway and be like, I hate these fucking new neighbors. Like, obviously you think because they're black, and they're like, come to my house, man. I'm having a barbecue. And I'm like, yeah, all right. And I walk in with like, I think I had a bottle of Hennessy on, and I walk in, I'm like, hey, how's it going? And they're wearing like short sleeve tracksuits, and they're like, oh, and they got like gabagool and all Italian stuff.
Yeah, right,
and
right.
When I walk in, they're playing like, I think it's like Mambo Italiano, and I'm like, I like the music, and they joke around like, oh, you want some peppers? And I'm like, well, what kind you got? He's like, come on, we got spicy and sweet. What are we, jackasses?
Then I threw the whole spumoni in his face.
I like the music you guys got going here, huh?
I got some vino, I got some suicide, no gabagool.
Come here, you want some sausage? You want some food? You eat? You hungry?
Hey, the real question is it sweet or spicy?
What do they look like, a bunch of Mama Lukes? We got both.
And it was like, that blew up too. And I'm like, this is like, I was like, we really got something. And then we did the bocce thing with Jay a couple of weeks later. And then it was like, we did a water polo one and a spades. And, you know, everyone kind of knew what was going on at that point, but it was like, look, it was working. And yeah, and then that was kind of it. And like,
It's
Just
cool when you assemble a team like that too.
yeah,
To so this way you have like an ensemble. You have a cast and all that stuff. And I do
yeah,
like too that you guys that it's biracial and all that stuff. Your
yeah,
group and that you do tackle stereotypes in a fun way. I think it
yeah,
helps break down some of the walls.
yeah.
And I don't know if that's intentional or not, but I think that's a good thing. I
Oh
think
no,
it
truthfully, like when we did the Bocce one, I won't say the guy's name, but I had asked him originally. I'm like, "Yo, you want to do this?" And he's like, "Nah, man, it's too risky. I'm not doing that." And I'm like, "Okay." And like Jay
yeah
was all for it, and like you can even ask Jay. Like, if I were to show you my DMs at that time, people were DMing me like, "Dude, you're solving racism." I'm like, "Thank you." I was out here thinking I'm like Mahatma Gandhi. I'm like, "Dude, I don't know who I am." Like, this is amazing. And but to me, it's like it's all fun. Like, I mean, anyone who knows me, if you come to my house, like my friends are this like the same people you would expect Jay to hang out with. Like half the
yeah
time,
yeah
we're like, "Wait, who are all these people?" I'm like, "Oh, these are like my best friends." And they're like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, "Yo, what do you think? I only hang out with Italian guys?" I'm like, "Truthfully, I don't." So, but it's like it's worked, and for me, I'll work with anybody. Like I know some people like think I've kind of not dealt with this, but experienced it. Like some people, I'll be like, "Oh, this guy's really funny." Like like, "Oh, Don Till's funny. He got 200,000 followers," and I'll be like, "Hey, man, I won't reach out to somebody unless I have an idea. Like, I'm like,
right
hey,
right
great idea. I would love to do it with you if you're interested." Look, a lot of times they're busy. Like, I understand. Like, people have lives, but I've had people like, "I'm not doing it." For me, I don't care if you got 2 followers and like you reach out, you're like, "Listen, I would love to do something like this. I'll take it if I think it's a good idea." I'm like, "Yeah, sure," and like I'll give them full credit. But if I could tweak it, I'm like, "Hey, come by." Like to me, it doesn't matter. I just want to like do stuff with people I like, regardless if you know you don't have anybody. I mean, I've done stuff with this guy Jack. When I met him, he had 200 followers. Like he's an older guy too, but like honestly, I love the guy, and I just did a video with Phil's Pizza, and like me and Jack were talking, like it was like the gravy one, and it was like kind of Jack's idea, and at the time he was working with some guy, and he's like, "I didn't want to do it," and I felt bad. We posted and it blew up. He's like, "Dude, that was like my," and I'm like, I felt like horrible, but it's once again, it was just like, dude, we work together, and like we were like, look, we know um what it is. No kind of steal credit from somebody, which is why it's great. It's
right
like so things like that. But yeah, man, I just enjoy doing it, and for
right
the year
on, man.
the year I've had has been good.
Yeah, you guys want to play a game?
What game?
Pickleball.
You mean wiffle tennis, you half a fag?
What game? What are you afraid to play?
Let's go, bro. I'll
right,
play
so let's
anything.
go.
Let's go.
Bye-bye, boys.
They break their kneecaps. Good game there, Pickle Dick. Next time, challenge us to a real man's game.
I did want to ask you too, because when you get somebody like Mike Marino, shout out to Mike Marino,
Yeah,
great comedian's been doing it for a long time,
yeah.
really hones in on the Italian thing. When somebody like him reaches out, like you, what does that feel like? Like you're like, holy shit, Mike Marino's watching my stuff and he reached out to me.
I mean, it was cool, dude. Like a couple of videos, people reached out to me, and I was like, not like fanboy, but like I would never like be like, "Oh my god," but I'm like, dude, this is awesome. Like when Mike DM'd me, I was like, "Oh shit." Another couple like cool people, like Catherine Narducci had DM'd me before, Chaz Palminteri.
Chaz Palminteri?
Yeah, that was a big one for me too, because I was like, it was the one that I did with the tracksuits. He's like, "This is great, man," and I was like, "Oh, this is awesome."
So Chaz Palminteri, that blows my mind because he's like a legend,
Oh, dude,
right?
he's like a legend. He's a legend.
And he just think about it. He took the time to he watched
Yeah,
your video, liked it so much, he took the time to
to
write you
DM.
a message.
Yeah,
What did it say? Like,
it was like, "Hey, this is great." That was literally it. I wrote back. He didn't write back, but it is what it is.
dude, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, if you follow any like you follow any like Italian pages or anything,
Yeah, a few of them, yeah.
like have you ever heard of like Sushi Mango?
Yeah,
Yeah, they like commented on it. I was like, "Oh man, like these guys got like 4 or 5 million like followers." I'm like, "This is awesome."
yeah.
For me, the biggest where I probably fanboyed the hardest. That it wasn't an Italian person or anything, but I had during the summer, me and Jay, we did a video, and I went to kill Tony, and I told Jay, I was like, dude, I had a crazy dream. This was like on Tuesday. I went to the Saturday one. I'm like, dude, I had a crazy dream. I got called to kill Tony. I'm like, I'm getting pulled. And he's like, yeah, all right, buddy. I'm like, trust me. And my wife didn't want to come. I had an extra ticket. And my barber, I went with my whole barber shop at the time.
The same barber that?
No, different barber, different barber. Because this barber was like a couple of years back. And then like that whole thing had happened. And then I left because I was so mad. So I went with my barbershop because they're the ones who kind of put me on Kill Tony, because I was like telling them, like, I go to the barbershop, I tell them like all the jokes I'm working on, and I'm like, what do you think? So I had bought tickets, like, you know, once they announced it was going to be at MSG, I bought them for the barbershop, and then we were going to go together. So I'm like, look, my wife doesn't like it. We're going to go. I told Jay, I'm like, dude, this dream was so real to me. Like, he's like, yeah, right. So the day we were going, I remember getting dressed and I was going to put on jeans. And I was like, in this dream, I was wearing a Sergio tracksuit, but a short sleeve one, like a velour one. I'm like, I got to wear it. My wife's like, why are you wearing that? I'm like, shut up. So we go, and I'm at the show. I sign up, and I'm sitting like way up high. And it was like 2.5 hours into the show. And I'm like, all right, I'm not getting called. You know, they had already said there was only a few more. So I'm like, I'm not getting called. Flashlight shines in my eye. And this guy has a sign holding my name. I'm like, holy shit, dude. They rush me down, call me up. Yeah, I do the whole thing. It went awesome. Like, in my opinion, I was the best that night. But anyways, it goes awesome. I'm walking off. And when I was there, it was like Shane Gillis was like Donald Trump. Adam Ray was, you know, Joe Biden. And then Harlan Williams was in the back. And Dave Attell.
Damn,
so,
legends.
Yeah. So like I do the whole show, and you know, they're like, dude, like Tony was like fucking killer, man. That was like killer from the audience. We didn't expect that. And I'm like, thank you, dude. And they were like, you know, how long you really been doing stand-up? I'm like, I started in like January at the time. So this is only August. And David Tell's like, holy shit, dude. So now I'm like, I'm feeling great. And like I said, I'm wearing that, like the tracksuit, and Harlan Williams is like, question for you. I'm like, sure, man, what's up? He's like, what time does frisbee tennis start? And I'm like, like 2:00. You know, I'm just like trying to play along with it. And then Tony's like, what time do you deliver your weed to Andrew Schultz? I'm like, he likes it late at night, you know, like you going along with the whole thing. He says something else to me. He calls me Andrew again. And I'm thinking he just, you know, said I'm real Italian. So he's thinking of Andrew Schultz. Asked me something else. He calls me Andrew again. And I'm like, the name's Silvio. I don't know why you keep saying that.
Andrew, what do you do for fun? Any fun facts about your life or special skills or talents other than stand-up comedy?
Name's Silvio, but no, not much.
And you know, it ends like I do good. I remember like I got a big joke book. As I'm walking away, Harlan like, you know, knocks my hand, and I'm going down, you know, the stairs, and like you're just kind of there, like backstage at MSG, and they don't tell you where to go. And like I turn, and like Joe Rogan was standing there, and Aaron Rodgers, and he's like, hey,
holy
man.
shit.
He's like, good shit. And I'm like, dude, this is like a fucking dream. And of course, I don't have my cell phone because it's like bagged.
Right.
I go up. Everyone's like, yo, everyone was going nuts. When I left, I have videos of like me walking in the train station, people cheering, taking pictures of me. I'm like, this is amazing. Next morning, I wake up. I got like, well, my wife called me and was like, I cannot believe what just happened. And I'm like, yeah, I got pulled. She's like, I had like 12 patients text me like, your fucking husband was like at MSG. And I'm like, I told you. So the next morning I wake up, like I could barely sleep. And I wake up, and I have like 80 text messages. I'm thinking people like, congrats. People are sending me Reddit threads of me on stage. And they're like, this scumbag Guido stole someone's name. And I'm like, what? Then I find out the whole time they said Andrew Parker, but they couldn't find the guy, but Tony just read the wrong name. That's why he called me Andrew.
Representing section 108, row 5, seat 13, this is the Kill Tony debut of Andrew Parker. Andrew Parker has been selected from the audience.
But I didn't hear it because I was like, the whole time, like, you go up there, you're not like, you're in front of like 25,000 people. You're in shock. Yeah. So when they put up music so loud, you don't hear anything. So I was like, I got to buy the stream. I buy the stream. He called me Andrew like 5 times. I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible. So now I got someone who texts me. He's like, dude, the kid Andrew Parker, his Instagram blew up. I'm friends with him. He's got like, and I'm like, oh my God, this guy stole my followers. I'm thinking this is my big break here, Don. And I was so mad. I made a video and I like tagged Kill Tony, everyone who was at the show. I'm like, it's just my luck. I get pulled on Kill Tony, have a great set, and blah 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 blah. I'm like, they call me the wrong name. I'm like, come on, I'm not an Andrew Parker. I would never steal like such a white name like that. I'd steal like Giovanni or something. Like, give me a break. So I was pissed like the rest of the day because I'm like, this is bullshit. Like I had a shot. Later that night, I told my wife, I don't even want to look at my phone. I was so mad. So I pick up my phone. I got a bunch of like Instagram requests, and I look, and like Shane Gillis added me, and then he DM'd me, and he was like, "Good shit last night." I was so excited. Like, to me, that's the biggest. I wrote back. I'm like, dude, coming from you, this is fucking amazing. Oh, he didn't write back, but I was gassed up. Like, I called Jay. I was like, dude, and that was like, for me, that was like the biggest. Like, I mean, the only thing I've had like a lot of really, really lucky stuff happen. Like, and like Jay's like, bro, you're like the golden child. I'm like, dude, it's all luck. Like, I don't know what, it's like, like I'll always chalk it up. I'm like, God's looking down on me saying like, your wife is going to learn, like you're doing this. So, and it's funny. Every time something big has happened to me, like it's kind of always been when me and my wife will like argue about like comedy and stuff, like the Mike Marino thing. I was posting these, like I had posted these videos because like I posted it, but Mike didn't reach out for like 2 weeks. And like that morning, me and my wife were taking a walk with our kids, and my wife was like, these videos, like they're not really doing anything. You're not doing really Italian stuff anymore. I feel like, you should stop, focus on your job. And then literally that day, Mike DM'd me, called me, we start talking, asked me to come on his podcast if I wanted to do shows with him. I did like 9 shows with him. And I was like,
that's awesome.
I swear to God, like Jesus is looking out for me. And then like a couple months went by. Then I did the Kill Tony thing. Then my wife was back on board when she's like, calm down. And it was like, after that happened, it was like kind of, slow. I'm still trying to get stage time, things like that. Then I had lunch with like a super big comedian, and like, I just don't want to say the name because like he was like, don't, I don't. But I had lunch with him, and he's like my legitimate like comedy idol. So I was like, this is like absolutely amazing. And my wife's like, all right, maybe like just give it a shot. I'll give you like a full year, like do whatever you can. So like, my goal this year is like I want to be on stage like 350 times, not days, but if I got a Monday and I could do 3 shows, that's 3 shows.
Right,
so
right.
like that's my goal. And then I had like another wild dream. I told Jay, I'm like, I had a dream like April 18th. I sold out the Smithtown Theater. I was like, and it was me and you. The show was called Slim Thick. I fucking hit up Jimmy, and I'm like, I want to do the theater. He's like, well, I'm like, no, I'm doing it. He's like, yeah, but it's hard to sell out. I'm like, no, that fucking bitch will sell out. Trust me. So we're like talking to them now, trying to get it set up, but you'll see soon. Like it's going to happen. And I'll tell you now, that motherfucker's going to sell out. I told Jay, I was like, I know Jimmy's like, it's a tough thing. And like, he was, I think he probably still is, was like, I don't know if you're going to sell it out. And I was like, look, obviously when you do a show like that, you get like a door deal, Right. And I was like, if your max is like, I don't know, whatever, I'm throwing random numbers. Like if you normally make $5,000, I'm like, I'll give you 5,500. Just give it to me. I'll pay you up front. Like, I don't even care. Like, I just want it. And so, I'm just really waiting for them to get back on like logistics, like who's going to sell the tickets, like Smithtown, or like I would obviously sell them, but where it's going to go through.
Right.
But, yeah, I'm just, if something happens and I really believe it, I'm like, no, that's it. I got to ride with it. So,
yeah, dude, follow these dreams that they've been working with you so far, man.
Yeah. So it's like, everything's been working. I mean, I wish it was working a lot faster, but obviously, anything that happens super overnight, it's usually not great. So I'm just trying to ride it and enjoy it. And honestly, like my dream would be I could make it and me and Jay are like neck and neck. Like, I was saying to Jay, I'm like, yeah, man, it's going to be a good show. I was like, we'll find a couple other people. And he's like, you want me to close it? I'm like, no, motherfucker, I'm going last. He's like, dude, you don't want to go after me. I'm like, oh, Jay, I love you said that because now, motherfucker, you're going to learn.
Now he's become the barber. Yeah.
He's like, I'm telling you, man, it's hard to follow me. And I'm like, I believe it is, but I needed you to say that.
Right.
So, but yeah, man, I love Jay. He's not afraid to be like, dude, this sucks. But, you get some people who are just like yes men. They'll just yes you.
Yeah.
Like you go up there, you look like an asshole, and it's like, the fuck were you telling me, dude? And it's like they think you're gonna get your feelings hurt. Like I don't care about anything. So
Jay's brutally. One time I showed up to see him to support him. He's like, "Oh, great, you're here. You're like a jinx. Every time you're here, I bomb."
Oh, dude.
And I'm like, "It's not my fault." I said, "We're breaking the curse today, man." So he
Yeah,
did. He killed, and then now I'm allowed to watch his shows again.
that's good. Yeah, he's awesome, man.
I love Jay, man.
Yeah, he's just like honestly like a genuinely good dude.
I think they're trying to rob us. There's something called gravity.
Bro, I just ordered 2 slices in the chicken roll.
Excuse me, sir. Can I speak to you, please?
Yes.
We didn't order the gravity.
Gravity?
Yeah.
That's gratuity, not gravity.
Oh, we didn't order that.
That's like a tip. Gratuity?
We don't get to pick what we want?
Hey, Sil, come over here, Sil.
What's up, man? How you doing, man?
Good, good. These guys want to give their own gratuity.
Come here quick.
Bro, we're going to need a talk for this one.
For the big one, definitely.
Yeah.
I'll get it ready.
All right.
With the Italian comics, there's a lot of these, like Italian-esque comedians.
Yeah.
Is there rivalries between them? And I know like Mike Marino's embraced you, but have you gotten a lot of embracement, or what's it been like amongst like other Italian-esque comedians?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I haven't. Like, no one's really been like, oh, this guy's a jerk off. I mean, I think I'm also like nowhere near as big as like a lot of them. I mean, I know some people are like that I know now. They've grown their Instagram. They got like 200,000 followers, whatever, and like they think they're fucking Chris Rock. But in the end of the day, like the internet is it's the fucking internet. It's like it's same with like Mike. Like he could have whoever he wants on the show. I could have 1 million followers. Like, if I go on stage and Mike's goes on stage, like he's gonna blow me away. It's just, but as far as like, I don't think I'm even in the vicinity of really any of them. Like in the sense of like how they've mastered their craft and things like that. I mean, I'm a fucking rookie. I would love to tell you I'm the best, like but I'm not. Like, but there hasn't been with me. I mean, it's a pretty tight community. I think once you get to like a certain point, like.
Yeah,
a lot of the people all know each other. Like like Pork, for instance. You got Lil Mo and all those guys. I mean, I don't really know Mo too well. I know he's like related to Pork, but I've only met him a couple of times. I don't like shoot the shit and hang with him or anything, or like Kujin. I don't really know any of them, but most of the other guys I know. Like I'll BS with. I mean, but I haven't dealt with anything, but. I don't know if other people have. And for me, I've lucked out, I guess. Not that I really care, but if they don't like me, go fuck them.
Yeah, so. Exactly, man. You got to do you. But has the social media presence, whether it's TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, have you seen a difference in the audience that's showing up to your stand-up shows? Like,
I don't think so. And I think a big reason is like I rarely ever post when I'm like doing a show. Like, to be honest, I think I've maybe like when I went with Mike, I posted because like I knew in advance. So like I posted it then, but you know how it is. Like, let's say you do a show at Governor's, like they call you that night.
Right. Yeah. You don't know.
Unless it's like kind of planned out. I haven't. I think I've only invited my friends maybe like 6 or 7 times. Also, to be honest, I don't want to hear their shit either. Like, and I look at it too, like some of my friends, I know they'll go and it doesn't matter how bad I am. They'll be like, ha, 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 ha. Like, I want to be able to make people who don't know me, like, laugh.
Right. Yeah.
That's really like, I think the name of the game. And like, I said it to even Jay. I'm like, he's like, you think you could sell it out? I'm like, I know I could sell it out. If I tell people like I'm doing a show, like, I'll know it'll sell out. And he's like, you nervous? I'm like, no, because these people know me. So I know I don't have to be as good as like, you would have to be, just for the simple fact, like they know what I'm going to talk about. They know like about me, it's like to show how good a real comedian is. Like you go into a room, no one fucking knows who you are. And like, you could crush it. I mean, I've done shows where I do that. And I've done shows where you think you're in fucking church.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not afraid to be like, oh, that was bad. But I mean, listen, you got to lick your fucking wounds and get up there again. I mean, to me, the biggest like thing I hate is like doing comic open mics where it's just comics.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like it's fine. I did one a couple weeks ago, you got 5 minutes. I swear to God, I thought I was up there for 6 hours. I was like, oh my God, what's going on right now? It was the worst experience in my life. I literally walked up the stage and called my wife. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing this? Like, I don't got it. So
those type of open mics could end
they're the worst.
they could end a career before it even starts. Yeah,
Yeah,
because you're not getting any laughs.
Yeah,
Because they're comics and they care about what they're doing.
The whole time they're like, and I always say this, I'm like, dude, the comics they're looking at their notes. They're not paying attention. And I say it every time, but every time I do it, I'm like, fuck, why am I here? So listen, you got to do it, but I absolutely hate it. So
that's like going to the gym. That's like when I think Brett Favre said it once. He goes, they pay me to work during the week, but I do Sunday for free. It's kind of like that. It's like this is the workout. This is where I go. I'm trying out stuff in front of an audience that's not really responding. It's just giving me my reps or whatever. And then when I do the show at Governor's or the Smithtown show or wherever in the city, that's the Sunday. That's where it all pays off.
Yeah, exactly. And like Mike Marino said that to me. He's like, look, man, all this is like, you're just out here sparring, man. He's like, you're getting your licks, you're trying things. And then when you get fucking here, you're at the big dance. Now's when you go out there and you kill it. And it's funny because people who I think don't do comedy or really like a lot of things, I think everyone will always ask me like, dude, like, one show my friends came to, and it was like, it was at the Stand, but it was like maybe 105 people. It was packed. And he's like, dude, how nervous are you? And I'm like, no, actually, I'm not nervous with this many people. I'm like, because there's more people who can relate to what I'm saying. So, if maybe like 40 people don't and 50 do, I'm like, and they start laughing, still sounds good. I'm like, I did a show with 3 fucking people in the crowd. It was like, oh my God, where the fuck is the gun to shoot myself? It just came down to the point. I just started having conversations because this whole set I wanted to do was about my kids. And I'm like, oh, anybody got kids? And they looked at me like, yeah, right, old man. And I'm like, oh God, this is fucking bad. It's like, all right, switch everything up.
Yeah, bigger crowds are better too because laughter is contagious. You know what I mean? Exactly. So people start laughing and then they start enjoying it more, and then the vibes. It's also like going into a dry audience if there's no alcohol served or anything like that. That's a whole different vibe too because you want them a little juiced.
Oh yeah, you want them a little sauced.
Yeah,
just so they'll laugh a little more than they would normally laugh.
Yeah, exactly. So they're really, and they're not holding back because a lot of times people get timid and all that, especially if it's a smaller crowd, man.
Yeah, it's also too, last thing. Sorry to cut you off, but it's also too like I did a show and this one like to me he was absolutely hilarious, but he does a little more racy things where like some people are like, dude, what the fuck's this guy's problem? And every once in a while I love me some good dark humor, and this guy was going for it. And like, I thought a lot of it was hilarious, but I was trying to hold my laugh back because I didn't want to be like, who's this fucking scumbag? So I'm like, but meanwhile, like we got off, like, cause I was standing like in the doorway. And when he got in the back, like, and I was like, dude, that was hilarious. She's like, I wish you would have laughed at me. I'm like, dude, they were staring at me. I snickered one time. I thought they were going to stab me. I was like, I'm sorry. But it's like, that's also a part of it when it's small like that. The one person doesn't want to laugh because he's like, now I'm the bad guy.
Right. So and it's easy to be mad at the guy laughing than to be mad at the guy saying it.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Way easier. Because also there's like a fear when you're in the crowd. Like, is this guy going to snap on me and make me like an example? So it's, I don't know. And like, depending on where you are too, this, like, I do a lot better in Long Island and New Jersey than the city. Yeah. The city's like, I have to cater a lot of my jokes. It's just like a little more liberal. Not that I'm like, I don't talk politics, but I say words that they don't like a lot. So
right. You're playing on the edge and they get offended easily.
Exactly. Like I have like a new joke. I tried it in the city and I said gay. It did not work. And then I did it again on Monday, like yesterday. And I did the joke and I was like, I mean, who am I to assign him his gender? And they died. And I'm like, like, just that slight word change made the joke great. And I was like, now it's funny the way it was, but I guess not.
Because the thing is with the liberals and those types is they want to laugh at it, but they're not allowed to. So if you change the word, it's still the same joke, but it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, you patted it a little bit, then they're like, ah, yeah, it's funny.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's just weird how that works, man. How like you have to read the room, different words,
Yeah,
change it around, but also maybe changing the word to help the joke stronger on any audience.
yeah. Oh yeah, like changing one word, like I think in jokes sometimes could change the whole joke. Like I sat with Carrie Karavis before and like was going over my set. She's like, take this out, this out, this out, this out. And she's like, say ham and Swiss. I'm like, what? I'm like, that's not gonna work. And I remember being like, I don't know if this lady's all cracked. And I said it and everyone died. I'm like, this fucking bitch knows what she's talking about. I'm like, but I would have never thought of that. I'm like, ham and Swiss. She's like, say ham and Swiss. I'm like, okay.
What was the original word?
Originally it was like I say I'm going into a deli and I'm like, yeah, thank God I'm married. I was like, I was at a deli the other day and one girl was like, I'm not dating midgets anymore. If they're under 5'11", they're a midget. And I was like, oh God. I'm like, and the other girl's like, I don't date poor guys if they make under 200 grand. And I'm like, oh Jesus Christ. And I'm like, I knew they were right because my wife says women are always right. And I was walking out of the deli, I went in there for a ham and Swiss, like that was it. I'm like, and I left with no self-confidence and like they died. And then I say, like, as I'm walking by, I'm like, I say I work in Chelsea. I'm like, as I'm walking by, guys are catcalling me like, hey, Poppy. And I'm like, I realize I'm not undateable. I'm like, women just don't know shit. But like the ham and cheese, like self-confidence thing, like I didn't even have that in there. It was just like, I leave the deli.
Right.
She was like, oh, take this out. Cause like, I just said, I was like, all I could think of is like my two daughters sitting on their bed being like, I don't want to date a guy like that. And she's like, no, take that out. Say this. And I'm like, yeah, all right. And I did. And it fucking killed. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, so, man. Shout out to Carrie Karavis.
Yeah, she's fucking amazing.
She's awesome, dude.
Yeah, she's great. So
yeah, that's freaking awesome. And you talk about doing your reps in these smaller clubs and then these open mics and the grind, but dude, you delivered when you did Kill Tony, man. They called you up and you were ready. You were ready to rock at the biggest open mic of your life.
Yeah, no, truthfully it was. And like after that I did shows like I don't know if you watched like Kill Tony, but I did 4 shows with Aaron Belisle and Martin Phillips when they came here. We did Stress Factory in New Brunswick for 2 nights, Bridgeport, and then a show in the Funny Bone in Manchester, but they took me with them and like super cool. I was going to do a show with Uncle Laser in Buffalo, but it was like last minute. It was a guest spot. I'm like, dude, this is going to cost like $1,500 to do like 6 minutes for free. I'm like, dude, it's not worth it. Yeah. I would have done it if my wife would have gave me the okay, I would have done it. But it was like that weekend was like a huge college football game. So there was no hotels. Like the flights were through the roof. The Airbnbs were like $1,000. I'm like, I can't be doing all this.
Yeah, man. It's crazy because you hear the stories of guys that will drive not like that to Buffalo or something like that, but will drive like to Connecticut or something like that or Pennsylvania, Delaware to do 10-minute set,
Yeah.
And it's that kind of paying the dues, man. That's
oh, dude, it is like it's people don't realize like, and I say this to my wife, she's like, well, what's worth you're not getting paid? I'm like, it's not about that. Like, one, I enjoy it. I'm like, but like, you can't just walk in somewhere and be like, okay, I'm the fucking star. Back up. I'm like, you got to pay your dues. I say this all the time. If I didn't have kids and weren't married, I would be in the fucking I'd be in the city every night, literally hitting every mic, hanging out at comedy clubs nonstop. This way, if they were like, well, this motherfucker ain't funny, but he ain't gonna leave, so let's just fucking throw him on here. Like, I think the biggest mistake now that I'm like, I really want to do comedy is when I went to school, I was going to NYU and I was like, originally I was like, hey, my dream's to like be on SNL. That's not anymore, but that's what I wanted to do and be a comedian. And look, college happened and I just wanted to party. I never tried to do comedy. I'm like, I wish like when I was there, I would have focused. I'm like, bro, right now I don't know if I'd be good, but I could fucking know somebody who was good and they could just drag me along with them, And I'm like, my opportunity. But I mean, everything happens for a reason. So I hope, my biggest goal is I would love to make it doing comedy and like my wife doesn't have to work. And it's a very weird fantasy, but my fantasy would be my wife's not working. And this will sound sexist. I got enough money where I could buy a Lamborghini and my wife goes, we can't be spending money like that. And I just want to go, you don't make the money, bitch. I do. Shut up. That's what I want to do. That's my dream in life. Is it a small dream and sexist? Yeah, but that's my dream.
Yeah, there you go, man. That's a great, that's a
Yeah, I
great
tell people that
drink.
all the time. They're like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "It's the small things in life that make me happy." That
That's
would be.
love it, man. Have you ever, after the Kill Tony thing, thought to reach out to Andrew Parker and say, "Hey, dude"?
Oh, he reached out to me.
Oh yeah, how'd that
Yeah,
go?
yeah. So, Kill Tony happened Wednesday. I mean, on Saturday, that next Wednesday, he had. I got a friend request from an Andrew Parker Schultz, and a DM. So I look and I'm like, "Fuck, this must be the guy." Because I looked for him because I'm like, I'm finding this motherfucker. And he was like, "Hey, man, great set over the weekend. I know there was a mix up. I saw Reddit threads like that wasn't me. All this, and I'm like." Nah, no problem, man. I was like, people told me you got like 30,000 followers because it only had 100 followers. He's like, dude, I did. Then people started DMing me like threats, like, you're not that Italian guy, you piece of shit. He's like, I deleted my Instagram. And that, truthfully, he was a very nice guy, but that made me feel better about myself. I was like, yeah, motherfucker. But cool dude. He actually lives in Boston. And I was like, I BS'd with him. He's like, hey, if you're ever in Boston, man, look me up. Let's grab a drink. I'll get you a drink. And I'm like, dude, you're not getting me a drink. Like if I'm up there, I'm getting you a fucking drink because I essentially stole your spot allegedly, and we joked around. But I mean, that was it. Like I always tell people, like I don't know if it's because I do the Italian stuff like on Instagram or how my hair's slicked back or how I act sometimes, but a lot of people think I'm a douchebag. Like I'll see people like that'll know me and they're like, oh yeah, like I've had someone at the gym before be like, oh, you're that fucking douchebag from online. I'm like, are you talking to me, man? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, like, what does that even mean? And like, you're a fucking dick online. I'm like, how am I a dick? Please explain it. And they're like, oh, and then I'll be at, and they're like, nah, you're pretty cool, man. I'm like, yeah, I don't know what the fuck your problem is. But like, dude, I told Jay the other day, some guys like, he always like talks shit. Like, yeah, you get these trolls online. He's out there always like, yo, if I ever see you, I'll fuck you up. And like, listen, I'm not gonna lie. I'm always like, give me the address. I'll be there. Like, and I'm at the gym the other day. It was over the holiday because I was on the phone with Jay at the gym. And I'm working out and I see this guy like pointing at me. And at first I'm like, oh, maybe he knows me from Instagram or something. I don't want you to think I think like that, Don. Like, yeah, this guy knows.
Right, but someone's pointing at you.
But he's literally pointing at me like nonstop. So I'm like, this guy must have like knew me from Instagram or something. Then I look at him. I'm like, I know this motherfucker. He's always one telling me he's going to beat my ass. I was so mad. I walked over. I'm like, oh, what's up, buddy? He's like, hey, what's up? I'm like, ain't you the guy who's going to beat my ass? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, you always say on my videos, you're going to beat my ass. Bro, it's like the internet. I'm like, so why don't you do it then, faggot? I was so mad. And then he was like, nah, bro, I'm sorry. I'm like, yeah, all right. And I was talking to Jay. He's like, what the fuck's your problem? I'm like, oh, I was fucking pissed. I'm like, I'm so pissed right now. I had to go after that guy.
Dude, I don't blame you, man.
Oh, it's like,
it's so good to call out somebody. You found a troll, dude.
Because listen, half of these people, like, they talk so much shit online. You see them in real life. Oh, hey, how's it going? Listen, I'm not gonna lie, I've done shit like that before. I'm not gonna bullshit you. I think the only time where, not that I've done that, like I'm a huge like Patriots fan. But then like I'm a diehard Brady guy. Like he could do nothing wrong in my eyes. And I was in Vegas this past April for a friend of mine's 50th birthday. We all went out, me and my wife, and we were next to the Cosmo. There's like a mall, and we were walking. And as I'm walking, I'm like, there was a guy super tall. And then a girl, and I'm like, I know that girl from somewhere, but I don't know where. And my wife's like, what's the matter? I'm like, I know that girl. I'm like, oh shit, it's Brittany Mahomes. Oh. So I'm like, and then I seen Patrick Mahomes was taking his kids out of this, like, it's like a Mexican restaurant, out of the tree that's outside, but they were like blocked with security. And it wasn't crowded, no one was there. And I'm like, oh. And she goes, oh yeah, it's Patrick. Do you want to take a picture with him? My wife starts walking back. I literally just went like this. No, I'm a Brady fan. And I just walked away. And my wife was like, why would you do that? I'm like, fuck that. I'm a Brady fan. That's all I said. And I remember my wife was like, I can't believe you just did that. I'm like, fuck that. I'm not turning my back on Tom Brady. Like me and him are best friends. But that's the only time I've ever done like anything like that. And I was just like, yeah, fuck it. Like, but otherwise,
Pat Mahomes, was he in hearing? Did he hear you say?
Oh, no? He heard me. He definitely heard me say.
Wow.
It was in the sense like he was maybe 10 feet away from me. And like she asked, and then I was like, nah, I'm a Brady fan. Like I didn't say it how I said it. I just said, I'm like, nah, I'm a Brady fan. And I looked at me like, that's fuck.
That's loyalty, man.
Nah, no way. Just like I didn't go out that night because we went to a pool party and my wife got really sick. She drank too much. She didn't get sick. I don't want you to think she got the flu. She that was her own fault. But my friends were like, we're going out tonight. You want to come? And one of the guys we were with is like best friends with Fletcher Cox. So like he's like, you know, in with a lot of like NFL guys. He's like good friend with Brian Clark. And he's like, oh, come out. You know, Travis Kelce's gonna be, and Travis Kelce was there and they hung out with him. And like they had all pictures with him. Like, yo, you could have took a picture. And I literally was like, I ain't take a picture with that motherfucker. I'm a Gronk guy. Like I was like, no shot in my life. Cause like the way I see it, it's like, look, when they talk about quarterbacks, the greatest is Tom Brady. And you know, they're like, oh, Mahomes is gonna be it. I can't have somebody trying to come after my man's legacy. And especially with Gronk. I always tell people, nah, Gronk's better. If he didn't get injured and didn't retire, Kelsey be a nobody. I'm like, when they were both in the league, Gronk shit on him. So I'm like, I wouldn't take a picture with that fucking guy. So like, I tell this to Jay too. I'm a diehard loyalist. Like if someone were to come up to me, like, I don't care who it is, like Andrew Schultz, Shane Gillis, were like, listen, man, I'll bring you along. I don't want you with that fat guy. I'd be like, God, this is tempting, but I'm not turning my back on my boy. Like, it's not worth it to me. Like, I'd rather like have my friends and like in that set. Listen, don't get me wrong. I would love that situation, but I couldn't do that. Like, I just,
no, man. Yeah.
Say, no, I can't. I know how I am. Like, I wouldn't do it.
And that says a lot about you and your character. And I think that had you let's just say you get that they actually, you know, Gillis is like, we're taking you, but not Jay. And you go along with it. And even if you become all your dreams come true, you'll still always have that little feeling inside that, you know,
like I would have to, like, if Jay doesn't come, like, or he's not getting on stage, like, he got to come, like, no matter. And then, like, but I would even say to Jay, I'd be like, dude, like, I mean, Jay did a show at Governor's, and actually this girl I knew, he had called me the next day, was like, do you know this girl? And I'm like, oh, she's actually, yeah, I know her, but she used to be like Sal Vulcano's personal assistant. And she was like, you need to be like, I'm going to send your stuff to him. And I'm like, dude, that's big. And he was like, yeah, man, I'm going to try to tell him like we do videos. And I'm like, don't do that. He's like, why? I'm like, bro, worry about yourself. Like, become fucking big. Like, I don't give a shit, man. Like, take this opportunity. Do not ruin it by bringing me along. You know, I'm like, dude, why would you do that? He's like, yeah, but I'm like, no. Like, take care of me. You want me to, like, you're doing a show, you invite me there. I'm like, don't ever ruin an opportunity you have to like help me out. I'm like, it's just, I don't know. I always look at like things like that. Like I have a buddy who's very big in like hip hop stuff. I've introduced him to Jay. He's been in a couple of my videos, but knows like done a ton of vlogging with rappers, like academics, a lot of people. And he was meeting academics and was like, I could bring friends like Sil. I really want you to come. And I'm like, listen, man, I love the invite. I'm like, I'm just going to be honest. And he invited a bunch of people. I'm like, do whatever you want, man. You know, like, you got this opportunity. I'm like, don't bring too many people. I wouldn't bring anybody the first time. I'm like, because you're going to look like you're bringing all these people. You don't want someone to ruin your opportunity. I'm like, just, that's my opinion. I'm like, do what you want. Because like, you never know. Like, they always say it, man. It's the ones closest to you who like stab you in the back or try to, you know, get jealous. And like, you don't want them to ruin it. Like,
and you don't want them to have animosity to you. Oh man, I would have did it, but you held me back, or that kind of thing. But I think too,
I'll tell you right now, I would do that.
Yeah,
I'd be like, fucking Don, like, you bring me here, like, you were fucking cramping my style. Now look at me. Like, I would totally say that.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But and you don't want nobody feeling that way about you. But I also think that also, let's just say you made it first, or Jay makes it first, or that you'll bring the other one up. You know what I'm saying? So I think, you know, if there is, you know, if both of you can make it up together, that's even better. But
amazing, man, yeah.
But I think you guys are on the right track, man. Especially with all the video content you've been putting out. You guys make a good team, and I love the dynamic between the two of you, and all that. And I just think it's getting funnier and funnier as you guys kind of you know, figure it out, sort of.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, for real, man. And I think you're gonna sell out that theater, man.
Oh no, you don't got to think. I'm doing it. I already told Jay, like, he's like, yeah, you think we can? I'm like, no, don't fucking say that. I'm like, it's sold out. I actually got to the point, at first I was like, the first month I want to sell 200 tickets. And like, Jay calls it the sickness. Like, you know, when you're doing a show, I was like, dude, this is pretty bad. But I got stage 8 cancer and it's metastasizing my whole body every second. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, first hour, I'm dropping 150 tickets. I'm like, we drop it on Wednesday. Friday, the whole shit's sold out. Jimmy's going to ask me to do another one. I'm going to tell him, no, you didn't think I could sell it out? Let's wait a little. And he's like, what? I'm like, you heard me. So I'm like, yeah, dude, I got the sickness bad. You cannot see me tomorrow. I might croak from how sick I am. But no, my goal is the second they tell me, and I'm like, all right, can I post it? Like, I want to post it that day, and like, I want like 300 fucking tickets that day. I mean,
Right on, bro.
Listen, that's the dream. Everyone wants that. Will it happen? No fuck knows. It might not. I got Jay, you, everyone going, this motherfucker. To
No,
you.
I'll be there for sure, dude. I definitely want to. I love that theater, and
Mhm.
and I think you guys are gonna rock it, and I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, dude, I think sky's the limit with you, bro. You're proving them all wrong, from the barber to anyone else who ever doubts you,
Yeah.
bro. So and then that I admire, man.
That's my goal, man. I say to people, like, they're always like, yeah, but you in it to like make money. And I'm like, listen, I got a really good job. Like, my wife, like, my wife's business is like doing great. I'm like, I'm not in this for like the money, like, and like, and I say that to a lot of people too. I'm like, I know a lot of people like, yeah, this got to happen for them. They're grinding because like, they're doing a waiter's job and this. And I'm like, I'm fortunate enough where I'm not in that position, but I'm like, do I want it the same? Yeah. But like for me, like this isn't for them. This is more like, I'm more motivated on proving people wrong. Like, truthfully, like I'd rather you be like, you get $5 million if you just sit on your couch. I'll be like, oh, fuck yeah, I'll take that. But if someone's like, yeah, he took the 5 million because he can't do that, I'm like, oh, this motherfucker's going to learn today. Like, I won't just to prove that asshole wrong. And like, like, look, my wife is like, I want you to make it. I believe in you. But I tell her all the time, I know in the back of your head, you're like, you ain't gonna make it. This is a fucking dream. And like after the Kill Tony thing, and then when Shane Gillis added me and DM'd me, and she was like, because she was this, and I was like, here's your problem. You've been awake. I'm still in the dream. Put your ass back to sleep. Like, I say all these like stupid shit to her. She's like, shut up. I'm like, you shut up. So, but I always tell her, I'm like, no, don't worry. And like, yeah, look, we all gain weight and stuff. I'll gain weight. She's like, you're getting so big. I'm like, oh, now you're going to learn. Like a couple of years ago, she's like, I feel like you're getting so big. I'm like, I could be 165 pounds in fucking 2 days if I want. She's like, okay. I'm like, I'll tell you what, give me till March. It was like being here. She's like, no, you're not. Motherfucker, I was 163 pounds. I'm like, six pack. She's like, you don't have any time. I'm like, oh, you're gonna learn. I started waking up 4:30 in the morning, going to the gym just to prove her ass wrong.
Dude, that's awesome. That you get that I tell kind people, of fuel. Like
haters motivate me, but it's almost like a sin to say. Like, I love my wife to death. Like, I don't know where I would be without her, truthfully. But her hating on me and saying like proving her wrong is my by far biggest motivator. Her and my mother. My mother-in-law says I can't do something. If it's something that would be done in a year, that shit will be done in a week, just to prove her. So,
I'm with you on that, dude. Yeah,
I'm a spiteful bastard. So if I could spite you and be like, that's what I'm doing. So,
dude, you're awesome, bro.
Oh, thank you. So.
Yeah, dude, I'm with you 100%, man. I get inspired and fueled and motivated by the haters as well. And there's nothing better than proving people wrong and showing them that you can do it. And I think that's what you've been doing, like left and right, man. The whole career is just showing them, hey, man, oh, you don't think I could do this? Well, here we go. I'm showing you. So
no, that's always been like by far my biggest, even like high school sports, like. When I got my first like pharmaceutical job, I remember the boss is like, I like you, but it's not what you think. You're not going to come in here and do this. And like, I fucking won President's Club my first year. And he's like, I don't understand. I'm like, yeah, bitch, because you said I can't do it. And then I coasted. He's like, what happened? I'm like, well, now you know I can do it. I'm going to prove it anymore.
Exactly. I already proved you're wrong. Yeah.
I'll never get the next year. He's like, you were number 3. Now you're like number 10. Like, I feel like you were just doing a lot better last year. I'm like, now you thought I could win it. So I don't got to prove it anymore. I'll never forget. We had a kid on my team who came in. He was like a fucking ass kisser. And like he was doing well. He's like, see, Sil, this guy's way better than you. That year I finished better than him and I won President's Club again. He's like, I don't understand. I'm like, because you think this motherfucker's better than me. He's not. I'm not going to do anything unless I'm motivated to. Like, he's like, what about the money that don't motivate you? I'm like, no, I don't care about that. Yeah. I established like my budget and how I'm going to live off my salary, not bonus. So it doesn't matter to me.
Right. So. Yeah. Money never motivated me either, but it's funny. Yeah. It's like when you say that, because like, let's say for me, I'm always battling my weight, right? Mm-hmm. Once I lose enough weight where people start to notice, that's the curse. That's when I go off the diet.
Yeah, you're just like me. I'll be like, oh, I have one cookie now. And then one cookie turns into, I'm having a cookie every 3 nights.
Right, exactly, dude.
Like, and then next thing I know, I'm like, how the fuck did the scale put 20 pounds on here? And then I'm like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, that's it. That's the
Yeah.
boat, man. I'm with you on that, dude. I know how that goes. I
Yeah.
want to prove them wrong. Once I prove them wrong,
Yeah, it's like,
then
oh,
I'm just like, all right.
my wife now is like, I don't care if you can lose the weight, keep it off. So now I'm like, okay, bitch, you're gonna learn. Next time you see me, I might fucking be a twig. I'll be wearing the same sweatshirt, look like a fucking scarecrow. You're like, you all right? No, I'm fine. My fucking wife said I can't lose weight. So yeah, it is what so,
Dude. Well, Silvio, man, I appreciate you taking the
yeah,
time
no
to be on
problem,
the
man.
show. Tell everybody real quick where they could find you and follow you, see all your Instagram
Yeah.
videos.
You honestly every social media platform, I'm that dad underscore Sil SIL. Yeah, it's pretty much you can catch me at your Lake Grove LA Fitness every morning too if you want to get some hate. That's where I am. Oh, besides that, man, I'm just gallivanting around. You see me driving like a jerk off in an Escalade and yelling at my kids. Besides that, man, it's the only place to find me. I don't really go anywhere.
Well, thanks again. Everybody check
No,
him
no
out.
problem. Thank
And
you so much.
everybody go to the theater, man. He's going to sell it out, so get the tickets.
April 18th. Get your fucking tickets. You got one day. They're going to be sold out. All right. And let's prove all these motherfuckers wrong that this sells out because otherwise this is going to be real bad afterwards.
We're going to do it. You're going to do it, man. I believe
I'm
in you,
doing
brother.
it. I'm doing it.
Oh, I should say I don't believe. This way you get motivated and make it happen.
Oh, yeah. Then I'm going to have to get off call Jay. This motherfucker Don says I'm selling it out. I'll shove these tickets down his fucking throat. So, but yeah, no, it's going to sell out. For that, I'm not worried. There was one point where I was like, fuck, can I sell this out? And I'm like, why am I doubting myself? I'm going to sell this motherfucker out.
Damn right, brother. I'm with you,
I'm
man.
so sick. I'll sell out MSG, so I'll be there. So,
Silvio D'Onofrio, everybody. Check him out. He rocks.
Thank you for having me, dude.
Thank you, brother.